So this year, we are so excited to have the president of the ALTA to join us, but she's joining us remotely. Mary O'Donnell, we are honored to have you here with us.
It's great to be here. I wish I was there. Hi guys, hi everybody.
Welcome to our convention.
It looks amazing. I wish I was there.
Oh, thank you so much. We wish you were here too, but this is awesome, right?
Yeah, it's great. I love seeing everybody.
Mary is the CEO of Westcor Land Title Insurance in Florida. She is an honor graduate from the University of Sheffield College of Law and is known as an innovator and a leader in our title industry. Please help me welcome virtually to our stage, Mary O'Donnell. At this time, I would like to ask Marianne Nelson Setterfield and Bev Jones to come forward and make a special presentation to Mary and her husband, Kevin. I don't see Kevin. Where's Kevin at?
He's coming right here.
Hey, Kevin. Thanks for joining us today.
Oh, my pleasure.
Hello, Mary.
Hi, how are you?
Is this on? Yep, it is. Okay. We are absolutely honored to have you here joining us and want to thank you for joining us via webcast here in Oklahoma. And Kevin, welcome.
Thank you.
We know that as you travel throughout the different states, you are presented with different gifts. Here in Oklahoma, we also present the ALTA president with a very, very special gift. This special gift represents our great state and is only given with the utmost respect to a leader such as yourself.
Oklahoma has at times been designated as a flyover state. However, we tell you why Oklahoma is so special to us. Our heritage is unique in that we were all created by sending the 5 civilized tribes and other tribes to this red man territory where we live that was uprooted from their homes without land, without a choice. They had strong leaders that fought hard to keep their tribes and families together. They chose to stay and rebuild their lives. The respect and pride they have for their families is strong. They protected the land that we love.
The highest honor that the leader of a tribe is the headdress. And I believe that you have received your headdress.
Yes. Awesome.
And Mary, this particular headdress is made by the Navajo tribe. If you want to
Spectacular.
show that. Oh, wow. Wow.
What amazing.
Okay. Yes.
I love it. That's amazing.
Wow, that is incredible. The headdress is different for each individual leader. The feathers that make up the headdress symbolize honor, bravery, strength, holiness, pride, leadership. Each and every feather was earned, not merely given to them.
Beautiful.
The beads are recognized for the works that have been performed by them and represented, given to their names. There's a lot of time and thoughtful pride that goes into preparing the headdress. Each of these are handmade. In the times we're living in, with all of the political issues surrounding us, it makes me think of the great pride that the Native American Indian has for not only each of us, but for our families as well. How they chose to stay and work through the adversities of their new homeland. How we must have had strong, brave leaders in place.
You, Mary O'Donnell, have been elevated to the highest position of honor. That is also with bravery, strength, holiness, and pride as the leader of the American Land Title Association. We ask that you wear this headdress that represents all of us because you are our leader. May you always wear it with pride because you earned it.
Now to you, Kevin, the husband of the leader, you must understand that you as well will hold a special place in our hearts. As we spoke earlier about the importance of family, the honor was to give the best gift. Today we give to you the blanket, which represents the bonding and the warmth of our families. Please understand that you both have been accepted into our family here in Oklahoma. And if we can ever assist you in any way or manner, you know that we are close by. And you know how we Okies like to help one another and party together and have fun together and work hard together. Thank you for being one of us and being our leader.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Well, thank you. This is absolutely awesome, and it's so appreciated. It does get a little chilly in Florida sometimes in the winter, so this is incredible. We'll probably use that quite a bit. And, many of you know with this accent, I'm not from these parts, I'm from England. And for ages, I kept telling the folks at ALTA I needed a crown, and they didn't give me one. But now I have one, so thank you so much. It's absolutely awesome. I really appreciate it.
And thank you so much.
Thank
This
you,
part
and
doesn't
God
even move
bless.
to me with it.
Thank
We
you.
are honored to have you. Thank you. Congratulations.
Thank you, ladies. We are excited to have Mary here to share with us the strategic priorities of ALTA for 2020 today. Mary, I will turn it over to you now. Thank you again for joining us.
It's my pleasure. It's great to be here. I may never take that headdress off, you guys know. It's fantastic, so thank you very much. I'm thrilled to be here. I really wish I could have been there in person. As was rightly said at the end there, I've heard that you guys throw quite a party. So I'm sorry to have missed that, so we'll have to just party another time. But again, thank you for having me here. I'm looking forward to spending a little time with you and talking to you a little about what's happening at ALTA, and just visiting with you a little for the next few minutes. So let me thank April, by the way. She's been awesome trying to put this together so that we could make this work virtually. So April, thank you so much for everything you did. I really appreciate it. One of the things that we were going to talk about a little today is a little around what the mission of ALTA is and what it is we do, right? We really have 4 levels of work that we try and do at ALTA, right? First is advocacy, which is a very key part of what we do and a very important part of what we do. You know, having your voice heard in Washington, D.C. Is really important. Sometimes you have to shout pretty loud because it's hard to get yourself heard up there, but it's a big piece of the ALTA mission. Certainly providing education to our members is also equally important. Networking opportunities like you have right there at OLTA and the chance to be together is a really important part of the ALTA family. And then creating and promoting standards for the industry as a whole. You know, when I took over as ALTA president in October, and I thought about the year ahead, needless to say, this wasn't quite the year I was expecting, to say the least, right? It's been quite an incredible, strange year for sure. And certainly during the pendency of COVID-19, more and more needing to help our membership became so apparent as soon as March hit. One of the first things we did was really try and get a feel for what was happening everywhere in the country, between what was happening with the courthouses and what was happening with the individual states as we saw more and more shelter-at-home orders go in place. You know, that first few weeks, I'm sure you all remember, there's a pretty tense time at ALTA, one of the big drives around that time was to ensure that title insurance would be seen to be an essential business and be able to carry on for the good of the consumer. Fortunately, as everybody knows, in just about every state, everybody agreed that it was in fact essential. I know all of us always knew we were essential, right? But now everybody knows we're essential, so that's kind of fun. And then the other thing, obviously, was, what were the courthouses doing, and would we be able to get documents recorded and do what we needed to do to support our customers out there? Well, what I'd have to say is when I started again in October, one of the things I really wanted to do, and we'll talk more about it in the presentation later, but I wanted to tell the story of the local agent. I was fascinated hearing the story of the headdress and everything that sort of went into making Oklahoma. Just a fantastic story. And it really does, I think, amplify that irrespective of what happens in the world, this is still a very local business driven by great local people. And never has that been shown more than during this COVID-19 crisis. What you have done in your marketplaces and in your communities to do creative closings has just been phenomenal. I've just shook my head and been totally amazed and very appreciative of what all of you have done. From drive-through closings to pop-up tents in parking lots to shields in the offices and going to people's homes and closing on their porches. I think it's just been incredible. And we've been telling that story over and over again to the regulators in DC. Simultaneously with that, we were hearing about all the wonderful work that you all were doing in your communities, separate and apart from the work. We were seeing, food drives and people making masks and people delivering food to essential workers in hospitals. And we established the hashtag Good Deeds campaign to share your stories with each other and also with regulators around the country. And the hashtag Good Deeds campaign has really been fantastic. I mean, the stories have been absolutely tremendous. And part of the Tell Your Story campaign, which we began in October, was we hired a company called Marathon Strategies. And Marathon is a professional PR company that we have now engaged for, I think, a 3-year contract to tell our story as an industry. Guys, we're really good at doing the technical, right? We're really good at getting closings done and taking care of the customer and making sure people get closings done. And what we're not always the best at is actually telling our story to other people. I think as an industry, we're pretty humble, and I think that's indicative of who we are. So we thought, well, we're not great at it, we better get an outside company to do it. And when we first engaged them, COVID did not exist. Do you remember there was a time where COVID did not exist, right? I know it seems like it's been here for like years, but there was a time. So part of what Marathon did when COVID began is they put together some video for us to be able to share and post with each other and again our regulators to show the great work that the industry was doing. And so I'd love to share that video with you. So let's play the video.
For over 100 years, we've been in the business of protecting American home buyers. Yet protection is taking on a whole new meaning during COVID-19.
Each individual transaction we do is all a part of making up a safer community.
We're coming up with safer and more innovative ways to refinance or close on a home.
We want to keep the community safe, our agents, customers, as well as the employees.
We're being more vigilant than ever against wire transfer fraud and phishing scams.
We really try to educate the real estate agents and the lenders to make sure that they are educating the consumers.
We're using advanced technology to ensure that they are sending the wire from the right source.
And we're continuing to give back to communities who are being hurt the most by the pandemic.
We're members in your community and every community all over America.
Whether that is coaching or teaching or volunteering on nonprofit boards.
In the schools, in the churches, in local charities, food banks.
Everything we do, we try to do to benefit the community.
Whether buying your home for the first time or refinancing, we're here to protect you.
our number one title is protection.
Today, tomorrow, forever.
Great. What did you all think? Did you like it? I think it does tell our story really well. And we were very, very pleased with it. You know, before we move on to our priorities, I was thinking this morning about, isn't it funny how COVID in itself has got us thinking differently sometimes about what's important and what's essential to us, right? And, we certainly know, our families and our businesses and our customers and our schools and our churches. But I think the one thing that many of us, and some of you in this room are going to be able to share this with me, that one of the most important things clearly is your hairdresser. So I've been really happy my hairdresser reopened, so I thought I'd share that with you. So let's go on a little and talk about ALTA's priorities. And, we set these priorities every year in a meeting, normally in person, normally in July, normally in Washington, D.C., and we sit around with the board and we ask, where do we want the staff to focus next year as we're trying to think of the year ahead? And obviously, sometimes those things get sidelined, as they did this year. But we did in 2019, going into 20, set up 6 priorities, which was essentially to protect money, prepare for privacy laws, prepare for digital closings, tell our story like we talked about before, I have more on that, engage with the GSEs and the agencies, and develop and retain talent. And in each one of these, we want to also engage our friends at Marathon to talk about what our membership do. And so when we talk about the protection of customers' money, we have some new advertising that will be going out, because we as an industry, we are the bodyguards of our customers' money. And really this area, some of the big areas really, is how do we educate consumers to deal with wire fraud and what we see happening in the marketplace. We live with it every day, and so for us, we really understand it. We did a survey recently, and we asked a whole bunch of homeowners, if they knew what wire fraud was. And probably less than 30% of them were like, yeah, I think I've heard of that. And, it's a serious amount of money. I mean, I think I saw one in February last year in Wisconsin. It was actually a TV executive and his wife. And they were swindled out of $260,000 in a wire transfer scam. Classic phishing email campaign. So, it's alive, it's real. When we were in DC talking to the regulators about wire fraud, they said, well, how often does that happen? And we sort of said, well, I think it's probably happened about 6 times since we just had this conversation. There wasn't an awareness that it really is an issue and a problem that is happening more and more, and the bad guys are getting better and better at it. So we really want in this area to amplify the information going to the consumer, and we'll talk about that on the next slide. We want to make sure we educate. What we tell our regulators is our industry is doing its bit. Everybody in this room is doing its bit, right? You call and verify wires, you have on your emails information to your customer saying, don't send it by email, make sure you verify. We do a lot as an industry to be able to notify the customer, but we need to keep amplifying it because it's not getting through. We need to engage our friends in the housing market, the realtors, the mortgage brokers, to also be part of that information going to the consumer. We also want to provide resources to you if, God forbid, this happens to you. If in fact, a closing scam happens or a wire fraud moment happens. So we have some resources available at alta.org/wire fraud. We have an outgoing wire preparation checklist. You probably have one in your own offices, but if you don't, feel free to go online, draw one down. It's super helpful, and I think your offices would enjoy it. There's also a leaflet that's a rapid response kit if, in fact, your wire fraud actually happens. for me and my agents around the country, you know, I'm actually happy sometimes that the first people they call, if it does happen, is us. And then we sort of say, okay, let's go do this and let's go do that. And it's basically a checklist. So if you have that checklist in your offices, if God forbid it happens to you, I think it's very helpful. And that's also at alta.org/wire fraud. There's also a wire fraud video that we've put together, which is really for the consumer. Many of my agents I know actually have it attached to some of their emails, or they have it on their website. So again, feel free to download that. It's really helpful. And then we talked about the realtors, and we talked about the mortgage brokers and the bankers. And we started last year a coalition to stop real estate wire fraud. And we've been trying to get other trades to join in along. MBA as part, National Association of Realtors as part. And we've been running with that campaign, and we'll see some of them in a minute on the screen. Digital advertising campaigns and videos, again, just to educate. You know, we spend a lot of time thinking, what should we call the coalition? And we say Coalition to Stop Real Estate Wire Fraud. I'll be honest with you, you know, for me, I kept saying, guys, I don't think a consumer knows what wire fraud is. You know, I think if you said Coalition to Stop People Stealing My Money at Closing, they might actually know what that is, right? But I think it's important that we talk about it, and it's important that they see the good work that you and other people in the industry are doing. So these are some of the infographics that we've put together and we'll be putting together as part of our launch of a campaign. These and the videos that are embedded in here will play. I think we're doing, I want to say, it's about the right number here for you. It's about 10 markets that we're going to launch in initially to, you know, just see if we can get the word out. So more to come on that, and you'll see some of these videos and some of these infographics, you know, coming your way. Also available to you, again, at the ALTA website. But, you know, major issue, and one that just will not go away, unfortunately. Yeah, the next priority we looked at was to prepare our membership for privacy law regulation. I don't know what you have in Oklahoma yet. Like all good things, if I was in the room and I could see you clearly, I would ask if anybody was from California, and hopefully, not because I don't love them, hopefully nobody would raise their hand, because what I would say is, okay, well then I can say everything weird starts in California and then works its way, you know, sort of eastward. And this is no different. In California, they passed the CCPA, which is Consumer Protection Act. It is probably the largest, most comprehensive piece of data privacy legislation that we've ever seen in the United States. A lot of my friends in California are really having a hard time getting their arms around how to deal with it. I mean, there's just a lot there. But what we do know is it won't be the last state to pass it. So what we're trying to do is put resources available to you and for our membership to get ready for privacy legislation. You know, we've advocated pretty hard that really what we really need is a federal data privacy regulation, so that at least if you have to comply with it, you do it once and it's the same wherever you go. I think, unfortunately, that's proving hard to get done. And so I think we're going to have this patchwork for quite a while. What we've done is we've enunciated some principles to the regulators, you know, that say, look, you know, there should be an exemption for GLBA. We already deal with that. If we can't get a national standard, there's got to be a scalability. You have to have a consideration for small businesses. You know, I mean, you can't expect a small business in the title industry to be able to comply with the same privacy laws as, pick one, Walmart, right? So we're advocating hard on that. There are some resources available to you, again, if you are interested in this area, alta.org/data privacy. Some information there that, you know, you might find helpful. You know, our next area is preparing for digital closings, and I like this one. You know, you can see it says my title is innovator. This is something we advocate quite a lot in terms of talking to people about the title business. There is a lot of innovation in the title business. the true digital closing experience is not necessarily being stopped by the title companies, right? I think actually in many cases, and I think we're seeing it right now in COVID, that some of the challenges is on the lender side, right? Everybody today, and especially since COVID, right, we all use technology every single day in what we do, right? And certainly since COVID, more so. I don't know about you, I was on my 974th Zoom call of the day yesterday. I actually had one more to go, and it was with somebody from my own offices around the country, and I texted them and I said, can we please just do a phone call? Right? Because it'd just be nice to go old school, right, and just do a phone call. But I think we've all gotten better at technology. Hopefully today is a great example of that. I mean, who thought I'd be able to, join in the Oklahoma Land Title Association's convention and feel like I was there? So we're all getting better at it. And I think all of us know that most consumers, ourselves included, right, that we want some sort of a digital process as part of our closing. And I think part of most of our industry wants to adopt some sort of a digital platform. But I think the really encouraging thing on top of that is all of the surveys also say that they want digital as part of the process, but they still want somebody to sit down and explain the documents to them. They still want somebody to kind of hold the hand, if you like, right, through that closing process. And the good thing, I think, is that's what we do, right? And as an industry, we do it really, really well. So, I get a lot of questions when I go around the country from people about, will title insurance go away? Will it all be disintermediated? I made a comment at a conference last year where I was speaking that how come when people talk about this, they always have people doing the closing in bunny slippers, sitting in their house? And I was surprised around Christmas that somebody was at the convention, and I wish I had them, I'd show them to you. They actually brought me a pair of bunny slippers. They were adorable. They got little ears and the whole bit. But the reality is technology is part of our fabric, and it's what we do. There's a great saying from an author that says, the future's already here. It's just not distributed evenly everywhere. And I think that's so true, right? I mean, you think about all the crazy things. I don't know about you, I'm a bit of an app girl, right? I love using apps for all sorts of things. And, you think about, self-driving cars. I haven't quite got there yet. My car apparently can park itself, but I still don't trust it, so I haven't done it yet. You look at like remote online notary. This was a big piece, right, as we were going into COVID-19. And, we've seen some expansion of remote online, and even in emergency orders, right, to given COVID. I love, there's always a new acronym, right? So there's RON, RIN, I don't know what all the others are, there's a whole bunch of them, right? But even remote online, even in times of COVID, was uneven, and frankly was not as widely used as I would have thought it probably would have been. Which is kind of interesting to me, and I think it's kind of good in an odd way, right? That it again validates the necessity to have the local agent in a local closing, right? Because if you were ever going to go totally digital, this might have been the time, and yet people still wanted to engage. And I think we have to think about the consumer more and more in what we're doing as an industry. It's probably bad for me to admit, but I am a bit of an Amazon junkie, and frankly, since lockdown, like I'm out of control, quite frankly. My Amazon delivery guy, like, we're on first name basis, best buddies, type of thing. I don't know about you guys too. I'm so bad that, if I look at Amazon and I'm going to buy something and you don't have Prime delivery, I'm not even talking to you. So, but I talk about Amazon because, Jeff Bezos has a saying, and he says, customers are beautifully, wonderfully dissatisfied. I think that's a great saying, right? It's something for us to think about, is how are we going to service our customers when we know inherently that they are happy, but not happy, right? They're always looking for something else. I think it's where our industry has the most great potential in creating an experience for our customers that is better and better. And again, I thought about this pre-COVID and having this conversation as part of our presentation. But boy, you guys have proven it, right? I mean, if you look what you've done in the last 12 weeks, you probably never expected you would do some of the things you've done in the last 12 weeks. But you've created experiences. You've created experiences for customers in one of the most stressful times of their life, doing a real estate transaction, in one of the most stressful backdrops of their life, in the middle of a pandemic. And you've made it something that is safe and rewarding for them. And you should just be totally congratulated. But I think this is going to be part of our story on a go forward. So if there's ever a positive out of a pandemic, that's probably it. Mindful of time, so I'm going to forge ahead here. One of the things that we always talk about as part of the ALTA presentation is the ALTA registry. We started the ALTA registry as a tool for lenders to be able to identify title agents. And really the drive behind it was, as we spoke to lenders, they do understand, big and small, the great benefit that you, the local title agent, bring to the table. But they also have a challenge in trying to manage such a large network around the country. And they were struggling trying to identify who was who. It's kind of, my joke's always been, you run out of names, so, Title 1 title, Title 2 titles, there's only so many. And so for the lenders to know who's who and what the accuracy of, their addresses are and all that. And so the ALTA registry was born out of that need. Everybody, whether you're an ALTA member or not, you have a unique ID number. So if you're a policy user, not a member, you have a unique ID number. That is your ALTA ID. I normally out everybody if I could see you, but I won't do it because I can't see you unless you want to out yourself, right? I normally ask everybody who is in the ALTA registry to raise their hand. I am, right? And if you're not, I would say take a few minutes. It doesn't take long. Get yourself in there. It really is just something that gives the lenders an opportunity to better understand who you are. So if you haven't done that and you don't take anything else away from this, go get that done. The next piece is something I'm really passionate about. This was something that when I took on the presidency, and I talked about this in Austin at the annual convention, this is the area that I believe is critical for ALTA to be doing on behalf of its membership. And it really is providing those resources so that we can do one of two things. We can educate the public. We can educate target audiences, so regulators, banks, both inside and outside of the industry, of the unique value this industry brings. We can provide PR materials that you could utilize in your markets, and also tools that you could utilize to get grassroots support for the advocacy efforts that were taking place. So we came up with a concept with Marathon, and it's called What's Your Title? And I'll show you a couple of the graphics that we're going to be using, and they kind of tie, if you remember, back to some of the priorities. So my title is bodyguard, my title is closer, my title is offensive lineman. There's a whole other section that says who am I, and I'm a little league coach. I think that's right. I'm from England, by the way, so I'm sorry if I get sports references totally wrong. The only other thing I was going to do today, by the way, is, but my headdress is too cool to do this, but so I'm a big soccer fan, not a big soccer fan, right? But my team, Liverpool Football Club, yay! We actually won the league yesterday, so it's been a good weekend. I got to support that, and then I got to come do this in Oklahoma, so this is awesome. One of the things we're doing as part of the What's Your Title campaign is, again, a video presentation that we're about to launch. And so let's take a quick look at that one for you.
I am an offensive lineman and a defensive lineman.
Private detective.
Bloodhound.
Bodyguard.
Problem eliminator.
Protector of the American dream.
I am a land title professional. We have lots of titles, but our most important title
is protection.
We're your best defense and best offense for purchasing a new home.
We are the neutral third parties who represent both the sellers and buyers.
We are 70% female and proud of it.
So that when your name is on the deed, you're the only person who can claim that property is yours.
To get there, we do a lot of homework.
When everything's clear, we give the green light.
And in case someone knocks on your door someday
and says,
"This house is mine,"
you're protected.
Title insurance minimizes the risk before you buy rather than after. Title professionals also work to protect you against wire transfer fraud and closing scams.
That's why we're exacting,
obsessive,
dedicated,
technical,
meticulous,
methodical,
precise.
Because our name is on the line, the dotted line.
For the largest financial purchase of your life.
We're members in your community.
In every community all over America.
You'll see us speaking at town halls,
coaching soccer,
coaching Little League,
volunteering,
and always at my favorite day, closing day.
While we have lots of titles, our number one title
is protection.
American Land Title Association. Our title is protection.
Right. So hopefully you enjoyed that. I think Marathon did a great job. Again, we're going to be launching that in several communities. I think it tells a great story about who we are and what we do as an industry. What we're trying to show everybody is what you guys already know, right? Which is, this is a fun industry. We're a group of people who care about what we do, and we have a lot of fun doing it together, and so we're trying to sort of spread that message a little. So hopefully you enjoyed that. I hope you did. The next priority that we look at is engaging with the Federal Housing Finance, the GSEs. And this is part of our advocacy program. And we actually started about 4 years ago now, maybe 3. I don't know about you. For me, everything was 3 or 4 years ago. It could have been 10, but I think it's really 3. We used to have something called the GSE Reform Council. And then we realized that the thing we weren't doing was actually talking to them and actually engaging with them. And so we created the GSE Engagement Council. And the whole purpose behind the GSE Engagement Council was to do exactly what it sounds like. We were getting information that they were talking about us, but not really talking very much to us. Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, like it or not, are the largest consumers of title insurance. And it's really important that they understand what we do and why we do it. I'm very proud of what we've done in this area over the last 3 years. I can tell you 3 years ago when we started the coalition, there was a few of us on that initial group. We kept it pretty small, and we set up some meetings to go talk to them. And I would tell you they were not the most friendly audience. You know how you know when you go in somewhere. I don't know if you can see me and do this or not, but I'll show you. You go in, somebody's standing there like this. The arms are crossed, and they're looking sternly at you, and then they're looking at their watch, and basically they were very defensive. Over the last 3 years, that has completely changed. And I'd have to tell you, it was highlighted again this year because of COVID. When COVID hit, I will tell you some of the first reach outs we got at ALTA was from Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, which was just huge. That would never have happened, you guys, never, a few years ago. And they reached out to talk about what you were seeing in the local market and what they could do potentially to help keep mortgage business moving. And you saw it, right? You saw a lot of changes come out in terms of things that they relaxed in order for mortgage business to continue to move forward. So, in-house appraisals, right? They relaxed the rules around in-house appraisals so that they could continue to have things go forward. They relaxed the rules around employment verification, because obviously at the beginning of COVID, very difficult to just get anybody on the phone and be able to do employment verification. But I think the biggest piece on this particular area is the fact that they picked the phone up and they called us. And we probably had, those first 3-4 weeks, I bet we were on the phone every day talking to one or other of the GSEs about what you were experiencing in the marketplace, what was happening in the courthouses. There's a great site that the staff put together, began really small, but we captured, with your help, information about every courthouse that we could in the United States and what their current status was. And it's some huge Excel thing. It's still there. It's still on the site. You can access it should you want to. But I think what I'm excited about is all of the governmental entities were accessing that site. So this was an area that was really important. COVID again exposed to the GSEs just how important title insurance is. And I would say we're probably in the best shape I've seen in, 10 plus years with the GSEs. Our basic advocacy with them, though, is really to create national standards, make sure title is always a factor in first mortgage transactions, and make sure there's transparency about what they're doing and what they're thinking about. We've been very fortunate with Diane Tom, who hopefully some of you have met. Diane and I were laughing yesterday, or day before I think it was, we both picked great years to be the first, right? So it was like, tough first year as executive director. It was obviously my year as president. Although, I'll probably be the one that goes down as the only one who's been totally virtual the whole time. So kind of, I guess that's something, but great area. GSEs are critical. What I always tell my agents in the field is, guys, you do what you do. We got your back when it comes to the GSEs. So that's the basic message I'm going to give you on that one. The next area really was develop and retain talent. And, I think we all recognize this is an area as an industry we have to work on. We need to bring more people into our business. We need to bring new entrants in. We all know what a great business it is, right? And we all know, for most of us anyway, we didn't sort of go into the business because we really wanted to go into the business, right? We all have our stories of how we sort of ended up, and then you couldn't get out because, once you're in, as you know, you can't get out. And we all have the person we blame for getting us in, whether that's a mentor, a family member, whatever. But, in all seriousness, it is a great industry. It's a great industry for entrepreneurs. It's a fantastic industry for, future leaders. It's a great industry for women. I think one of the areas that we're trying to work really hard on at ALTA is how do we help attract more people to the business. We actually think some of the work you've seen earlier in this presentation through Marathon can help attract people. We have a great group, Jeremy Yohe and his team, who push all this information onto social media. And so, getting hopefully to develop and attract more talent. Bunch of online courses available that are helpful. I know in my company we've done an intern program, and we make them all do Title 101. Frankly, I'll be honest, we started the program 2 years ago. I think we maybe now have 4 full-time employees that have joined us from that program. And it's been really exciting. It's been really fun to do. Many of my agents around the country say, well, Mary, I get it. You can do an intern program. I can't do an intern program. I'm just like one office. And I go, gosh, you really can. We did a great intern program in one of our smaller offices where we brought in some people from high school. It was a lot of fun. They ask a ton of questions. And, if you ever have one of those days, where you're just tired and you've done like 9,000 things and you had all the stress, and if you sit with one of those interns for 30 minutes, they ask you 10,000 questions. By the end of it, you're like, yeah, this business is really cool. So I encourage you to reach out to your local schools, and they would love to spend some time in your offices. Ton of HR tools that we put together when we started our human resources area on the website, so alta.org/human resources. One of the things that's really helpful in there that I know we've used it, quite frankly, is there are job descriptions and there are sample ads that you can utilize to place if you're trying to engage talent. The other thing that we did is we sent a survey out. We got quite a good response from the membership, and we created a compensation index. I think it's one of the hardest things, right, between the different areas of, I don't know about you. I mean, I started my company 15 years ago. It seems like 15 minutes ago. And I'm probably still doing things like I did 15 years ago and not really always have kept up to date with, like, where's compensation gone or all those things. I try, I really do, but I'm not always that great at it. So there's some great resources available there for you if that's of interest. It's an area that, as an industry, we definitely need to do more and more. It is a good business. It's a great business to bring people into and creates great careers. So let's go share that news and share that joy with people. We're really excited about some of the information we're putting together. So that's what we're working on at ALTA this year. Besides the pandemic and some of the unrest going on, and we think there might be a place. Well, we've got, I don't know about you, we've got this thing called Sahara dust right now in Florida, which apparently it's a huge big dust storm that came all the way from the Sahara. So it's kind of miserable looking out and really, really hot. And so I figure there's not much left for us this year. Maybe a plague of locusts, and then we'll be kind of done for the year. But we so appreciate everything that you guys are doing and have done during this really difficult time. As I was getting ready to take on this role, many of the past presidents were so kind and so helpful. But I would say every single one of them told me, Mary, the thing you'll enjoy is the Oklahoma Land Title Association convention. So you got quite a reputation out there. I've enjoyed even this much of it. So thank you so much. I've enjoyed talking to you. Thank you once again for the fantastic gift. I mean, it's just awesome. I'm really looking forward to sharing it with a lot of people. I don't know if it's possible to do questions remotely, but if you have any, and April, anybody wants to shout it out, I'm happy to do that. But otherwise, thank you so very much, and thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Does anybody have any questions for Mary?
Just tell her to come next year.
Yeah, just come next year. It'll be a grand time.
If that's an invitation, I'm coming. I'm coming.
Absolutely is.
Well, that sounds good. I will see you all there next year. I guarantee you.
Thank you, Mary. We appreciate you and all your service to our industry.
Oh, thank you.
At this time, we're going to install the 2020-2021 officers and directors. In April, our membership elected your next group of leaders to work for you for the industry. At this time, I would ask all of our new officers and directors to come forward and line up in front of the stage. Now I would ask Mary to install our new officers.
It'd be my pleasure, April. Good-looking group there. So, nominees. Your industry colleagues have honored each of you by nominating you to serve in a leadership role. You are dedicating a year of your life to work on the Oklahoma Land Title Association's behalf and for the betterment of our chosen profession. The respect in our communities for the land title industry was earned by those that came before you. The responsibility, therefore, now falls on you to ensure those who follow in your footsteps are afforded the same respect. Will each of you accept the duties and responsibilities of the office to which you have been elected? Please answer, I will.
I will.
Do each of you agree to faithfully perform the duties of your office to the best of your ability for the betterment of the land title industry and the Oklahoma Land Title Association? Please answer, I do.
I do.
Congratulations, and thank you for your commitment as evidenced by your acceptance of these obligations. You are an asset to the Oklahoma Land Title Association, and we appreciate and thank you for your service. The success of our leaders in carrying out these responsibilities depends not only on their own efforts, but also on the full support and members of our association. Please rise in support of the qualified and elected Board of Governors of the Oklahoma Land Title Association for the year 2020 and 2021. Congratulations.
Thank you, Mary, one last time for joining us today here in Oklahoma. We hope to see you next year, and thank you for your continued support in our industry.
Thank you, April. Thank you, everybody, and I hope to see you all next year. Bye-bye.
Yes.